Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
We begin tonight with a follow-up to a story that we brought you last night after a graphic post of a family's German Shepherd puppy was found skinned on the side of a highway.
Today, another animal abuse case was discovered. Valley News Team's Callie Hubbard talked to a pet rescue that serves the Red Lake Reservation, where both incidents occurred, and they say they want answers.
We have to be a voice for the voiceless. We need to say something.
In March, Karen Good, the owner of Red Lake Rosie's Rescue, was approached by a woman who found a picture of Smokey, a German Shepherd, on Facebook. He had disappeared, and a week later, he was found on the side of the road, dead.
And here I saw the skin of Smokey laying there.
The puppy's owner was in shock when she heard the news.
We asked her, do you have any idea who might have did this? No, she had no idea.
Fast forward to April 20th, nearly a month later, the same kind of incident occurred to a dog named Sunshine in Red Bee, Minnesota. Residents told Karen that one of the kids was scratched by the pet, one of the men in the household stabbed the dog, and another intentionally ran it over. The Animal Rescue says pictures and text messages have been sent to the Red Lake Police Department. And Karen says the Humane Society of the United States will offer a reward, but only if they are contacted by a law enforcement agency. We contacted the Moorhead Police Department to see what the Minnesota state laws were on animal cruelty. It states that anyone that tortures an animal is subject to a misdemeanor. But on the Red Lake Indian Reservation, it's different. They have their own tribal code. According to an Indian law enforcement officer, you can be charged with a misdemeanor for animal cruelty. They say you could also face jail time and fines, depending on the severity.
We need to get back to that respect of animals, of people, of everybody.
Karen says what has happened in her community is just a small example of what's happening in the real world. In Thief River Falls, Callie Hubbard, Valley News Live.
Red Lake Rosie's Rescue says if the Red Lake Police Department asks the Humane Society of the U.S. for a reward to help find the culprits, it could be as high as $5,000.
2 people are dead, at least 4 others transported to hospitals after a shooting at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte today. The alleged shooter has been identified as 22-year-old Tristan Andrew Terrell. He's a dropout student who attended the school last semester. The shooting happened in a classroom during student presentations, and as a result, 2 people were dead, 4 others injured, 2 of those people facing life-threatening injuries.
When I was in the library, I was on the 2nd floor. All of a sudden, someone ran in, yelled, "There's an active shooter, get down." And it was chaotic. In the library, I guess, nowhere to go. People were just running.
Today was the last day of classes at the university.
Meanwhile, a Minneapolis police officer has been convicted of murder in the fatal shooting of an unarmed woman who approached his squad car after she called 911. Mohammed Noor was charged in the July 2017 death of Justine Damond. She had just called 911 to report what she thought was a sexual assault happening in the alley behind her home. Noor testified that a loud bang on his squad car made him fearful, and he fired when he saw a woman who was raising her arm. He said he fired to protect his partner's life.
When you look at police shooting cases in this country, over the last 12 years, there's been 12,000 police shootings. Only 95 of them have been prosecuted, and less than half of those have been successfully prosecuted. This was one because I think we did our job and we had to do it all.
In the end, a jury of 12 found Noor guilty of 3rd-degree murder and 2nd-degree manslaughter.
Residents in a Moorhead neighborhood can rest easier tonight after a nearly 9-hour standoff with a man who they say refused to come out of his home. Moorhead police say just before 6 tonight, 35-year-old Blake Fitzgerald surrendered to SWAT officials outside his home on the 1400 block of 5th Street South. Police responded to the home just after 9 this morning on a report of a domestic disturbance. They say a woman was able to get out of the house and that the man was still inside with a gun. Police later deployed flash bombs as well as the SWAT robot and drone raid into the suspect's home. Final straw apparently for Fitzgerald came when law enforcement deployed tear gas into the house. Fitzgerald is facing charges relating to domestic assault and threats. He also had a felony warrant out of Wisconsin.
Parents packed a room at Fargo South High School tonight to express their continued frustration over possible boundary changes within the district.
Valley News Team's Katie Opperly joins us now with the grievances from some parents. Katie?
Mike, Andrea, the parents who turned out tonight are worried about the changes that could impact students attending schools like Discovery, Carl Ben, and Ben Franklin, while the district is looking at easing expected overcrowding. Superintendent Rupak Gandhi acknowledged that he has heard growing concern from parents. As a result, he introduced several new boundary change scenarios for consideration. One parent, whose 3 children are currently attending 3 different schools, doesn't favor any of the options. Her major concern is the distance that parents and students would have to travel and how that would put pressure on an already strained busing system.
One of the ladies in the meeting had looked up walking distance from her house to Carl Ben, and it would take 2 hours walking. So I just think that is I don't even know why we're discussing this.
One father who has 1 child at Kennedy and another at Discovery says he doesn't believe there needs to be changes. Brian Toy said that he did some research and found that enrollment has not been increasing as previously projected, but decreasing.
I think they need to wait. There'll be a census in 2020. Let's see if enrollment goes up next year, because maybe it'll continue to drop. What we do know is that their predictors said that enrollment was going to continue increasing, and that hasn't happened. So it's a drastic change to send kids from far South Fargo up to Carl Ben to solve this problem that doesn't exist.
Parents are no closer to getting any answers. The task force's work has been extended until at least June. Mike?
All right, thanks, Katie. And you can find more information about the potential boundary changes by going to our website, valleynewslive.com.
West Fargo residents are frustrated. They say construction in the city is leading to potentially dangerous situations. The intersection at 40th Avenue West and Cheyenne Street will close tomorrow night at 8, and it will not reopen until June 15th. Residents say aside from the extra traffic, the move creates unsafe situations, diverting drivers by schools and making it difficult for emergency services to get through. But the city says it planned for this.
We've talked to the schools, police, and fire, and they all have routes and ways to handle this. In fact, the school district had already been doing some alternate routing of their students.
West Fargo first responders are also coordinating with Fargo teams.
New information tonight surrounding the scare at Fargo Cass Public Health yesterday. The facility went into lockdown after a suspicious envelope was dropped off with a sticky note that read, "Test for anthrax." The woman who brought in the envelope has been cleared and says the situation was blown out of proportion. She tells us she dropped off lab results, and police later confirmed that the sticky note was part of lab work done at a different facility. The envelope did not contain anything other than paperwork.
The Barnes County Sheriff's Department has a John Doe on its hands after 2 bodies were found in the county last week. Last Monday, deputies responded to 2 separate unattended deaths. The first was reported near the Steele-Barnes County line. The second incident was reported a short time later near a cemetery south of Sanborn, North Dakota. Investigators say there was no identification on one of the victims, and the 2 deaths are not related.
The honors student and accomplished musician accused of opening fire with an assault rifle inside a San Diego synagogue says he's not guilty. John Earnest has been charged with murder deemed a hate crime. Earnest showed no emotion as prosecutors described his alleged attack. The hearing comes just 24 hours after hundreds of friends and family gathered behind bullet-riddled doors to say goodbye to Lori Kay, who jumped between a rabbi and the gunman. Earnest is eligible for the death penalty. He was also charged today in an arson attack at another mosque in California last month.